My name is Jessica Morales, and this is the story of how my own mother decided my son wasn't worth her time because he was a boy, left him crying and alone on her porch, and then, years later, tried to crawl back into his life when it suited her. It ends with me closing the door she never deserved to walk through again. I was 29 when my son, Mateo, was born. September 2019, Chicago suburbs. My husband, Marco, and I had been married 3 years, both working full-time, me as a pediatric nurse, him as an HVAC tech. We bought a small fixer-upper in Napperville. 3 bedrooms, tiny yard, perfect starter home. My mom, Elena Morales, lived 20 minutes away in the same town she'd raised me in. Single since Dad left when I was 10. She worked part-time at a bakery, went to church every Sunday, posted endless Facebook photos of her perfect grandbabies from my older brother Luis, who had 2 girls, Sophia and Isabella. When I told Mom I was pregnant with a boy, her face changed. Just for a second, a flicker. Then she smiled. "A boy! That's wonderful, mija. Boys are strong. They protect the family." I believed her. Mateo arrived screaming, 8 pounds, 2 ounces, dark hair like Marco's, my hazel eyes. The first time Mum held him in the hospital, she cooed, kissed his forehead, said, "He's perfect." I cried happy tears, thought maybe this would bring us closer. Mom had always been distant after Dad left, resentful of men in general, quick to criticize anything too boyish. But I hoped a grandson would soften her. The first few months were okay. She came over once or twice a week, held him while I napped, brought homemade arroz con leche. But she never offered to babysit. "I'm not as young as I used to be," she'd say. "And boys are so active. They tire me out." I didn't push. Marco's mom lived in Texas. My brother's wife handled their girls. We used daycare 3 days a week, family on the others. It worked. Then Mateo turned 18 months, walking, talking, full of energy, climbing everything, laughing loud, typical toddler boy. One Saturday in March 2021, Marco had an emergency call-out, frozen pipes in a condo complex. I had a 12-hour shift starting at 7 a.m. We needed someone to watch Mateo for just 6 hours, until Marco got home around 1 p.m. I called Mom. "Mom, can you watch Mateo tomorrow morning? Just until Marco's back. He's easy. Naps at 10. Loves his trucks." Long pause. "I don't know, Jessica. Boys are too rough. They break things. And he's so loud. Last time he pulled my lamp cord and almost knocked it over." "He's 1.5. He's curious. I'll bring his playmat, his favorite toys. He won't be any trouble." Another pause. "Fine, but only this once. And if he gets wild, I'm calling you to come get him." I thanked her, dropped Mateo off at 6:45 a.m., kissed his chubby cheeks, handed her the diaper bag, his blanket, his sippy cup. "He ate breakfast already. Call if you need anything." She nodded, took him inside. I drove to work feeling guilty but relieved. At 9:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Mom. Jessica, come get him, now." My heart dropped. What happened? Is he okay? "He's fine, but he's too much. He keeps running, screaming, throwing toys. I can't handle it. I put him on the porch with his blanket so he can calm down. He's crying, but he'll stop." The porch, outside, alone. I was in the middle of rounds. "Mom, he's 1.5. You can't leave him outside alone." "He's in the covered part. It's fine. Just come get him." I told my charge nurse I had a family emergency. Got permission to leave early. Drove 22 minutes white-knuckled. Pulled up to Mom's house. Mateo was sitting on the concrete porch step, red-faced, snot running, blanket clutched in his fists, sobbing so hard he could barely breathe. No coat. 48 degrees outside. His little hands blue from cold. I scooped him up. He buried his face in my neck, hiccuping. Mama. Cold. Abuela mean. I banged on the door. Mom opened it, arms crossed. See? I told you he's too rough. Wouldn't sit still. I needed a break. A break? You left my toddler outside alone and crying. He wasn't alone. I was watching from the window. And he's fine. Toughen up, Jessica. Boys need to learn they can't always get their way. I stared at her. The woman who raised me, who used to sing me lullabies in Spanish when I had nightmares. You're done, I said. You don't get to see him anymore. She laughed, short, sharp. You'll change your mind when you need free babysitting again. I turned and walked away, Mateo still crying into my shoulder. That was the last time my mother saw my son for more than 5 years. Marco was furious when I told him. We changed the locks on our emotional doors that night. No more unannounced visits. No more, just this once, favors. Mom called the next day playing victim. You're overreacting. He was safe. You're too soft with him. I blocked her number. She tried my brother Luis. He called me. Mom says you're being dramatic. She's sorry. Let her apologize. I told Luis what happened, word for word. He went quiet. I didn't know she left him outside. That's not okay. I'll talk to her. He did. She doubled down. Boys are resilient. He needed to learn. Luis stopped defending her after that. The next few months were hard. Mateo asked for Abuela a few times. I told him gently, Abuela is busy, but we have lots of people who love you. He accepted it. Kids are resilient when the adults around them are steady. We leaned on Marco's family. They flew up twice a year. Daycare friends, my co-workers. Life moved forward, but Mom didn't stop. She sent cards on Mateo's birthdays. Generic, no personal note. Love, Abuela. I put them in a drawer, unopened. She posted on Facebook, photos of Sophia and Isabella, captions like, my sweet granddaughters. Girls are so gentle and loving. No mention of Mateo. Ever. Friends messaged me screenshots. Is this about your son? I never responded publicly. By 2023, Mateo was 4, starting preschool, talking in full sentences, asking questions. Why doesn't Abuela come play? I told him the truth, age-appropriate. Abuela made a choice that hurt us. She didn't feel safe taking care of you. So we keep distance to stay safe and happy. He nodded. Okay. I have Daddy and you. And Abuelo Marco's mom makes good cookies. Simple, honest. He moved on. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Because in 2025, when Mateo was 6 and starting kindergarten, Mom's life started falling apart. And suddenly, she remembered she had a grandson. The first 48 hours were numb. I stared at my phone like it might ring again. It didn't. Ryan took it away gently, put it on silent in another room. You don't have to carry this alone, he said. But you also don't have to carry it at all. I tried to go back to normal, edited photos from our Patagonia trip, answered work emails, walked the dogs. But every quiet moment brought the echo of Dad's voice. I'm dying, Olivia. Guilt crept in like fog, slow, thick, suffocating. What if he really had only months? What if this was the last chance to hear an apology that mattered? What if I regretted the no forever? Ryan saw it on my face. You're allowed to feel conflicted. That doesn't mean you have to change your mind. I booked an emergency session with my therapist, Dr. Elena Marquez, who'd been with me since college. Virtual call the next day. I told her everything. The call, the block, the tears. She listened. Then, Olivia, you spent 15 years grieving a father who was still alive. This isn't abandonment. This is protecting the peace you fought to build. Regret isn't proof you were wrong. It's proof you're human. The question is, would seeing him heal anything or just reopen the wound? I didn't have an answer. Not yet. 3 days later, the first flying monkey arrived. Karen. She called from an unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity and a flicker of anger won. "Olivia, it's Karen." Her voice was softer than I remembered, less polished, more tired. "I know James called you. He's not doing well. The doctors say 6 months at best. Chemo isn't working. He's asking for you every day." I stayed silent. "He knows he failed you. He talks about it constantly. How he let me push you away. How he regrets the wedding. He cries at night. He wants to say sorry in person. Please, Olivia. For him, for closure." I laughed, a bitter, short sound. Closure. He had 15 years for closure. He chose golf trips and Cabo over my wedding. He chose your fresh start over my childhood. Now he's scared of dying alone, so suddenly I matter. Karen sighed. "I know I played a part. I was jealous of the bond you two had. I wanted him all to myself. I was wrong. But he's the one dying, not me. Don't punish him for my mistakes." "Don't rewrite history," I said. "You didn't just play a part. You directed the whole show. And Dad handed you the script. This isn't punishment. This is consequence." She started crying. "He's in pain. Morphine barely touches it. He keeps your baby pictures by the bed, the ones I made him pack away. He looks at them and whispers, 'Livy bug, please?'" I felt the crack in my armor. The old nickname hit like a punch. But I remembered the lavender dress, the empty chair at prom, the $2,000 check instead of a father at my wedding. "No," I said again. "Tell him I hope the pain ends soon. But I'm not coming." I hung up. Block that number too. Ryan found me on the couch afterward, knees to chest. "You okay?" "No, but I'm still sure." That night I dreamed of Dad, the old Dad, the one who carried me on his shoulders through the park, who taught me to ride a bike, who held me when Mom died and promised, "It's just us now, kiddo. We've got this." I woke up sobbing. The guilt wave crested. For a week I researched flights to Scottsdale, looked at hospice info, imagined walking into the room, holding his hand, hearing, "I'm sorry," one last time. Ryan didn't push, just asked, "If you go, what do you hope to get out of it?" I thought. To stop feeling like the bad guy. "And if you don't get that? If he blames you, or Karen manipulates the moment, or he dies angry?" I shivered. "Then I lose twice." We talked for hours. I journaled. I called my best friend from college, Mia, who'd known me since the move-in drama. Mia was blunt. "Liv, he abandoned you emotionally when you were 12. You rebuilt without him. Don't tear it down because he's scared. Death doesn't erase 15 years of absence. It just makes people sentimental." Her words anchored me. I deleted the flight searches. Instead, I pulled out the scanned photos from the old box. Made a private digital album titled Before. Mom laughing, Dad and me at the zoo. Us three on Christmas morning. I looked at them every night. Not to grieve him, but to honor the family that existed before Karen. To remind myself I hadn't been erased completely. Work saved me. A big assignment came in. Photo essay on wildfire recovery in Colorado. I threw myself into it. Drove to burn scars, interviewed survivors, captured resilience in ash and green shoots. Every image felt like a metaphor for my own life. Destruction, then regrowth on my own terms. 2 months after the call, December 2034, another call came. This time from a Scottsdale hospital number. I let it go to voicemail. The message was from a nurse. "Ms. Grant, your father asked us to reach out. He's in palliative care now. He'd like you to know he loves you. He's sorry. If you want to call back, we can connect you." I listened 3 times, then deleted it. Ryan asked if I wanted to call. I shook my head. Not yet. Maybe never. But the almost break happened that Christmas. We hosted friends, small gathering, mulled wine, lights on the tree, everyone laughing. I excused myself to the kitchen, stared at the fridge where I'd pinned an old photo of Dad and me from 2007. Me gap-toothed, him ruffling my hair. Tears came hard. I picked up my phone, dialed the hospital number from memory. It rang twice. A woman answered. Not the nurse. Karen. "Olivia?" I froze. She sounded exhausted. He's not conscious much anymore, but he wakes sometimes. Calls for you. I can put the phone to his ear if you want to say something." I closed my eyes. The room spun. Ryan appeared in the doorway, saw my face, came over, took my hand. I whispered to the phone. "Dad, if you can hear me, I forgive the man you used to be, but I can't forgive what you became. I hope you find peace. Goodbye." I hung up. Karen didn't call back. That was the closest I came to breaking. I didn't go. January 2035. The email came from a lawyer. Subject, James Grant, Estate Matters. Dad had died December 28th, 2034. Quietly, in his sleep. The email included a short handwritten letter, scanned. "Livy Bug, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I don't blame you for not coming. I earned that silence. I was a coward. I let Karen fill the space your mother left, and I pushed you out to make room. I told myself it was for a new family. But you were my family first, always. I kept every photo, watched your career from afar. Your Nat Geo piece made me cry proud tears. I wanted to call 1,000 times. Never did. The house in Scottsdale goes to Karen. But there's a trust for you. $250,000. No strings. Use it for whatever you want. Or burn the check. Your choice. I love you. I'm sorry. Dad." I read it sitting on the floor of our office. Ryan sat beside me. I cried. For the father in the letter, for the one I lost at 12, for the closure that came too late. Then I forwarded the lawyer's contact to Ryan. "Handle the trust. Donate half to breast cancer research, for Mom. The rest, maybe a scholarship for kids from single-parent homes." He nodded. "And the letter?" I folded it carefully, put it in the before album. "I'll keep it, but I won't reread it every day." February 2035. Karen sent one last email. "Olivia, he went peacefully. He talked about you until the end. I'm sorry. For everything. If you ever want to talk." I didn't reply. Blocked her. The guilt wave still came sometimes. Anniversaries, quiet nights. But they were smaller. Manageable. I kept living, kept photographing, kept loving Ryan, kept choosing the family I built. Because the man who chose his new wife over me for 15 years, he didn't get to choose how my story ended, I did. The next few years blurred into peaceful routine. 2035 to 2038. Olivia threw herself deeper into her work. The wildfire recovery photo essay won a regional award. She exhibited it at a small gallery in Boulder. Ryan got promoted, lead engineer on solar projects across the West. They renovated their house, added a dark room for her prints, a home gym, a garden where they planted wildflowers, for Mom. Therapy continued monthly. Dr. Marquez helped her name what she felt. Ambiguous loss, grieving a father who died twice. Once when he chose Karen, once when he actually left. Olivia learned to sit with the anger without letting it define her. She started a private journal titled Letters I Never Sent. Pages of unsaid words to Dad, to Karen, to her younger self. Burning one page each year on his birthday became a small ritual. Release, not rage. She reconnected with distant cousins on Mom's side, people she'd lost touch with after the move. Video calls with aunts who remembered her as a baby, shared stories of Mom's laugh, her love for hiking. It filled gaps Dad had left empty. No big drama, no surprise visits from Karen, just life moving forward. 2039. Olivia turned 43. Ryan surprised her with a week in Iceland. Northern lights, black sand beaches, quiet nights in a cabin. They talked about the future. Maybe fostering a dog long-term. Maybe mentoring young photographers. No kids. Never wanted them. Their family was complete. One night under the aurora, Olivia said quietly, "I don't regret saying no, but sometimes I wonder if he died thinking I hated him." Ryan squeezed her hand. "He died knowing he failed you. That's different from hate. And he had the chance to fix it. He didn't take it until the end. That's on him." She nodded. The northern lights danced green and purple. She felt lighter than she had in decades. 2040 to 2042. The ripples faded almost completely. Olivia published a book, Shadows and Light, a photojournalist's journey through loss and renewal. It included some of the before photos, anonymized. A chapter on chosen family. It sold modestly but touched people. Reviews called it raw, redemptive. She did a few podcasts, talked about boundaries, grief, walking away from toxic parents. Never named Dad or Karen, just the truth. Ryan's parents retired to Arizona, ironically, same state as Scottsdale. They visited often, treated Olivia like the daughter they always wanted. Holidays were loud, warm, full. Karen never reached out again. A cousin mentioned in passing that she'd sold the house, moved to Florida with a new partner. Olivia felt nothing. No anger, no curiosity. Just neutral. 2043. A small package arrived. No return address. Inside, a single photo from 2007. Olivia, age 11, on Dad's shoulders at the park, both laughing. On the back, in his handwriting, "Livy Bug, my first and always love. I'm sorry I forgot." No note, no apology from Karen, just the photo. Olivia stared at it a long time, then added it to the Before album. Last page. She didn't cry. She smiled, small and sad, then closed the book. That night she texted Ryan, "I think I'm finally done grieving him." His reply, "You've been done for a while. You just let yourself admit it." She laughed softly. The story wasn't about revenge or dramatic forgiveness. It was about a daughter who said no when the world expected yes. And in that no, she found yes. For herself, for Ryan, for the life she built, without waiting for a father who never showed up. Peace wasn't loud. It was quiet. And it was hers. The years from 2044 to 2055 unfolded gently, like pages in a well-loved book. Olivia's photography career evolved into something deeper. In 2045, she launched a non-profit initiative, Through Their Eyes, workshops teaching photography to teens from single-parent or unstable homes. She funded it partly with the remaining trust money from Dad, partly from book royalties and speaking fees. The program grew, first in Colorado, then online sessions reaching kids nationwide. She mentored dozens personally, a 15-year-old girl who documented her mom's battle with addiction, a boy who captured his dad's construction sites after losing him young. Every time a student said, "This camera makes me feel seen," Olivia felt a quiet echo of the little girl she used to be, finally giving back what she'd lost. Ryan retired early at 55 in 2050. They sold the Boulder house, bought a small cabin in the foothills, views of the Rockies, space for a darkroom and his workshop. They adopted 2 more dogs, a rescue mutt named Aspen and a golden named Summit. Life slowed, long hikes, reading by the fire, weekend visits from friends. No children, no regrets. Just 2 people who'd chosen each other every day. The scholarship fund Dad left grew. By 2052, it had awarded over $100,000 to kids pursuing creative degrees: journalism, art, photography. Olivia never attached his name to it publicly. It was anonymous, a silent amends she made on his behalf, not for forgiveness, but because it felt right. Karen died in 2054, heart attack, quick and alone, in her Florida condo. Olivia found out through a distant cousin's message. She felt a brief pang, not grief, just the faint ache of finality. She sent flowers to the service, no card, no attendance, closure without ceremony. 2055, Olivia turned 58. A documentary crew reached out, small indie project on chosen families and boundaries. They'd read her book, seen her TEDx talk on ambiguous loss. She agreed to be interviewed, on condition. No names, no specifics about Dad or Karen, just the emotional arc. The interview happened at the cabin. Sunlight through pine trees, dogs at her feet, Ryan off camera sipping coffee. The director asked, "Looking back, do you regret saying no when your father was dying?" Olivia paused, looked out the window at the mountains. "No. Regret would mean I think I should have gone back into a space that hurt me for decades. I forgave the man he was before Karen, the one who loved me first. But the man who chose her over me for 15 years, that man didn't earn my presence at his end. Saying no wasn't cruelty. It was honesty. It was protecting the life I built when he wouldn't help build it with me." She smiled softly. "And honestly, the peace I have now, the mornings with Ryan, the kids I mentor, the photos I take, none of that would feel as real if I'd compromised it for a deathbed moment that might have been empty anyway." The documentary aired in 2056. It won a small festival award. Messages poured in from strangers. "Thank you for saying what I couldn't. Your story gave me permission to walk away." Olivia read them, then closed her laptop. She didn't need validation anymore. She had it inside. 2060. Olivia was 63, Ryan 65. They celebrated their 40th anniversary with a quiet trip back to Rocky Mountain National Park, the same trail where he'd proposed. They sat on a boulder overlooking a lake holding hands. Ryan said, "You know, I never worried you'd change your mind about going to see him. I worried you'd punish yourself for not going." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I did for a while. But then I realized the little girl who waited for her dad to choose her. She got her answer eventually, not from him, From me. I chose her. Every day since. They watched the sun set over the peaks. Gold, pink, purple. No words needed. Back home, Olivia opened the Before album one last time. Flipped through the pages. Mom, Dad, young Olivia. She lingered on the final photo, the one that arrived alone. Then she closed it, tied a ribbon around the book, and placed it on the highest shelf. Not hidden. Just archived. She didn't need to look at it anymore. The past was there when she wanted it. But her present, her future, was downstairs. Ryan cooking dinner, dogs waiting for walks, emails from mentees saying, "I got into art school because of your workshop." She walked down the stairs, smiled at her husband, and said the same thing she'd said every evening for decades. "I'm home." And she was, truly. Her hair had silvered completely, worn in loose waves she no longer bothered to dye. Ryan, now 70, moved slower but still hiked with her every morning. Short trails now, with walking sticks and frequent pauses to watch birds. The dogs had come and gone. Aspen and Summit were buried under a pine tree in the yard, small stones marking their places. They adopted no more, too hard to say goodbye. But the house still felt full of echoes. Through Their Eyes had become a national model. Olivia stepped back from daily operations at 65, handing leadership to a former mentee who'd become her protégé. Maya, a 32-year-old photographer who'd grown up in foster care and found her voice through Olivia's workshops. Maya called her Mama O on calls, half joke, half truth. Olivia smiled every time. One spring afternoon in 2065, Maya drove up to the cabin unannounced. She brought coffee, fresh pastries, and a thick folder. "I need your eyes on something," Maya said, spreading photos across the kitchen table. A new program, teaching kids in hospice families to document their last months with loved ones. Not morbid, healing. They capture memories before they fade. Olivia flipped through the sample images. A teenage boy photographing his dying grandfather's hands. A girl capturing her mom's laugh lines in sunlight. Her throat tightened. Maya watched her. "I want to name it after you. The Olivia Grant Memory Project. But only if you say yes." Olivia set the photos down. "Why me?" "Because you taught me, and every kid who's come through, that saying no to what hurts you isn't selfish. It's survival. And then saying yes to what heals you, that's legacy." Olivia looked out the window at the mountains, same peaks she'd hiked with Ryan decades ago. Same ones Dad used to take her to as a child. She thought of the little girl in lavender at the wedding reception, waiting for a father who never came. Thought of the woman who answered no on a phone call in 2034. Thought of the peace that followed. Not instant, but earned. "Yes," she said quietly. Name it after me. But tell the kids the truth. Sometimes the strongest memory you keep is the one where you chose yourself." Maya hugged her. "They already know. You taught them." 2070. Olivia was 73. Ryan passed peacefully in his sleep. Heart failure, quick and kind. No long illness, no suffering. She found him in the morning, hand still warm. She sat with him for hours before calling anyone. Whispered thanks for every year, every laugh, every quiet, "I'm home." The funeral was small. Friends, mentees, Maya and her family. Olivia spoke briefly. "He never asked me to change. He just loved who I was. That's the rarest gift." She scattered his ashes in Rocky Mountain National Park, on the trail where he proposed. No tears at the scattering, just gratitude. She lived alone in the cabin after that, not lonely, surrounded by memories, dogs' ghosts, Ryan's tools still in the workshop. Maya visited often, brought her grandkids sometimes. Olivia taught them how to hold a camera, how to see light in shadows. 2075. Olivia turned 78. Her health was steady. Arthritis in the hands, slower steps. But her mind sharp. She rarely left the cabin now, but the world came to her. Video calls from scholarship winners, letters from kids whose photos hung in galleries, Maya sending updates on the Memory Project, now in 40 states. One winter evening, snow falling thick outside, she opened the Before album for the first time in years. Flipped through slowly. Mom's smile, Dad lifting her on his shoulders. The final photo, laughing in the park. She lingered on that last one. Then she spoke aloud, to the empty room. "I forgave you, Daddy-o. Not for you, for me. So I could keep the good parts and let the rest go." She closed the album, tied the ribbon tighter, carried it to the fireplace, not to burn, just to hold near the warmth. She sat in Ryan's old chair, wrapped in his flannel shirt, and watched the snow. No regrets, no what-ifs, just peace. The kind that comes when you say no to what breaks you, and yes to what mends you. And in the quiet, she heard the little girl inside whisper back, "Thank you for choosing me." Olivia smiled. "I always did.